Okay, so today I'm thinking about the fact that we have to stop letting the media control us and manipulate us and pin us against each other, especially through things like movies. It's like the whole purpose of certain movies that they put out there is to just distract us, to control us, to have us thinking in a certain way. Like, if you look at a movie like Wakanda, for example, I didn't want to name specific movies or say anything specific, but it's just so deep rooted, and I just want people to see things for what they are. So I'm just going to say what I say. But even like a movie like Wakanda, it's like there's an emphasis on the black community for a reason. It's like there's this emphasis on like the tribalism and things of the past and things that already happened to us that we can't control, and things that could have been what we could have been. It's like all that stuff is by design. It's to keep us in the past, and it's to pin us against other people in society. It's like it's to create that spirit and that energy of competition, of fear, of living in the past, of being bitter, of being angry, and just seeing you against another person, when in reality all of us here in society are on equal playing field. Of course things happen where individual groups can work on certain things and we can build certain things for ourselves, and that's another conversation. But for the most part, all that stuff, and if that's so, if there's certain groups that are still behind and still marginalized in certain ways and still kept back in certain ways, looking at the past all the time is not going to fix those problems. It's like seeing yourself pinned against another person in society because of skin color is not going to resolve the issue. It's just going to have us in the past and in our emotions and in our, I don't know, it's just not thinking of the present and the future and how we can guide ourselves toward that. And that's the problem, and that's the whole aim. That's how they control you. They control you by putting out this stuff, and when you see it, it's like all these black celebrities promoted, and the whole media entertainment industry is like pushing this thing in front of you, but you don't understand the mental warfare that it is. You think that it's something empowering or something to rejoice about. You think that it's something to relate on, but there are other things for us to relate on. It's like we've already related on slavery and racism and things like that. Let's relate on something new. Let's relate on the present and building a beautiful future. I believe that things happen for a reason, and everything that happened in the past is something that we can learn from. We should never throw away history. We should never throw away things that happened to us, and you know, things that were unfortunate or unfair. We should never throw those things away and act like they didn't exist. And we should never throw away what could have been. But at the same time, we need to come to a place where we learn from it, and where we can take that and apply it to the present, apply the information from the past to the present so that you can build something for your future. It's like Wakanda is a figment of someone's imagination. Like, I don't know if Wakanda is an actual place that you can physically go to and visit. I don't know. If I don't know, then somebody can let me know. But as far as the movie, Wakanda the movie is nothing but a figment of somebody's imagination. It's not bringing you to a Wakanda. It's not helping you to create a Wakanda for yourself. It's just a figment of your imagination. It's just something that's in your head and that you can play it over and over, and it'll spark a chord, it could spark an emotion. And people can use that against you. People can see, okay, well, this does something to this person. There's a emotional charge behind this, and they can use that to manipulate you and have you do whatever they want you to do, and you won't even know it, because Wakanda is tied to something that happened to you in the past, and it's tied to all these people that you look up to, and they're saying, yes, go watch this movie, or they play the music in the soundtrack or whatever, and they're a part of it somehow, and they're connected to this thing, and you feel like, okay, well, they look like you and they're successful, so if they're promoting this movie, then it must be something that you should go see and have playing in your imagination and have sparking thoughts in your mind that you didn't even know were there, or thoughts that were harbored. Those things spark in your brain subconsciously. It's like these people that put these things out, whoever approved a movie like Wakanda, they already know what it's going to do to you as a group of people who are very tribal. And the thing is like, it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't do anything. It's like, it's time. I just feel like we should stop giving our energy, our time, and our money to these things that play with our imagination and keep us in a realm that's not reality. And we need to take our energy and direct it towards working on what we can fix now. It's like, what is it that we're unhappy with? What do we not have? And how can we direct our energy to get those things and to get to a Wakanda, if that's the aspiration that you have or something like that. It's like, how can you work in the present toward the future and just leave the past? My reason for bringing this up is that, you know, this is the way that they continue to divide and conquer people and keep this old paradigm, this old structure of old money and just control, and just this one small group having, you know, all the resources and all the control and all the power over everyone else, and we just get the crumbs that are left over. You know, they turn us into shells for corporation. It's like you have no meaning to your life but working for this corporation or something like that. And you know, they'll pay you a few bucks. Like now they want to pay fry cooks $25 an hour. It's like, it's not because they want it easier for people. It's easy to say that and have you believe that these people have your best interest in mind, have your well-being in mind, but it's just to keep you dumb. It's like, okay, if they're paying a fry cook $25 an hour, there's no reason for you to go to school, to go educate yourself and to broaden your knowledge span so that when you see stuff going on out here, you can understand what's going on. No, it's just to keep you comfortable and give you a decent amount of money where you can survive and probably purchase a nice vacation package or something, and you know, just like live. But it's like, it's not gonna empower you as a group. If you think tribally, it's not gonna empower you as an individual. It's not gonna empower your family if you're thinking about generational wealth and things like that. It's like, if those are the things that you want and you seek empowerment in that way, it's like something like working a fry cook job and getting paid $25 an hour, working a regular retail job and getting paid, is like, that's not gonna do anything for you, you know. And I feel like I kind of veered off of the topic, but it's not really that unrelated. All of these things are related. It's like, it's all manipulation. It's all mental warfare to keep you against the next person in society, to keep you isolated from the truth, and to keep you just controlled, where people can do whatever they want so that they can take it all the way to the bank, and you're left with nothing but you survived on this earth, when every single person on this earth was born with a purpose. It's like, you know, and that's the thing too, they want us to be so distracted from Jesus Christ. It's like the media, you know, the media industry, it's like they want to distract you from Jesus Christ. They want to distract you from God. It's like they make Jesus Christ something that, it's like they almost relate Jesus Christ to Santa Claus, as if this person didn't really exist, and, you know, to make it seem like what he came here on this earth to do was not a big deal. When in actuality, if they have to do all that, if the whole entertainment industry is kind of like designed around blaspheming Jesus Christ, blaspheming the Holy Spirit, blaspheming God, it's like there must be something very powerful in that, because nobody's going to spend all that money, time, and energy into making something look bad if it's not something that's going to benefit you as an individual. And the way that I see it, Jesus Christ came here to show humanity that, listen, we are not just random people. We are not just shells walking around with no purpose. You know, we all have a purpose, and we're not disconnected from God. It's like a lot of times even religion will tell you that, you know, you're here and God is somewhere out there, somewhere far away, somewhere in outer space, and you have to find God somewhere. But Jesus Christ came here to show us that God lives inside of us. God is a spirit that's within each and every single individual. And when you can tap into that spirit, you tap into a greater purpose. And you tap into this force that's uncontrollable, you know? And the more you're separated from that force, the more controlled you become, and the more you start acting against yourself and your own well-being, and the world can do whatever it wants with you. And this is just the way of life for everybody. Even me, it happens to me all the time. Anybody can float in and out of being in tune with God. But Jesus Christ was special because this man was in tune with God every second of his life. Once he discovered that, once he discovered it, it was a go, and there was no stopping him. There was no, making him feel like you have power over him or There was none of that. It's like Jesus was so rooted within himself, and the whole world was open to him. I mean, things happened to Jesus Christ along the way, and he had a bad end. But the way that he lived his life was a true representation of someone who lives in purpose, someone who's not controlled, someone who has control over his life, and someone who's not bound by just the systems of the world and the way that they control us with material things. It's not that, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm completely immaterial. I mean, this is, somebody can easily take this out of context. But what I'm saying is Jesus was not controlled by materials. He was not controlled by what was happening politically. He had his own way of thinking, and his thinking was filtered through righteousness, and filtered through whatever's best for his well-being and people around him, which is why he healed. There was no need for AI when Jesus was alive. You didn't need AI glasses to help you see and help you hear, little device. You didn't need that. He laid hands on you and you were healed. And this is a power that we all have. Of course, everybody has different gifts, but we're not just shells with nothing to offer life but being, some worker for a corporation. It's like we have meaning to us. We have spiritual gifts. God has blessed everybody with gifts. He's blessed everybody with a purpose, and God has blessed humanity with a beautiful planet. I mean, the world is ours. Everything here is ours, and there's just so much more to life. That's what I get from when I read about Jesus Christ. He showed that there's so much more to life. Life is more than just living day to day. It's more than sickness. It's more than, everything that leads to death. Life is about things that lead to life, to more, I don't know, abundant life. I believe that's what Jesus was about. That's what Jesus taught about. That's the way that he lived his life. It's like somebody would be dying and he would lay hands on them and they would continue to live, He'd revive people's spirits, raise people from the dead, and help the blind to see, the deaf to hear. So it's like someone like that is a powerful person, And the fact that his disciples were able to watch him live his life this way, and able to see the things that he did, it unlocked something in them. And they also saw that they were children of God. It opened their eyes to see, like, wow, I can be just like this person. It's like this person rubbed off on this group of people. And this is what they don't want to happen. The same way that Jesus rubbed off on his disciples because they were so close to him and they got so inspired by just the powerful being that he was. It's like, that's the same reason why they have a whole industry designed around blaspheming this person and saying that this person is like equal to a Santa Claus or didn't exist, or just, every sort of just discrediting this person that you can think of. This is why. It's just to distract from the fact that he came here to this world to show us that we have a purpose in God and that we are not separated from God, that there is no man that is greater than you as a man. There's no one that can, no matter what, no matter how much money this group might have, no matter how much power, no matter what how solid their foundation is, how solid their structure is, there's nothing these people can do to deter you from the fact that you have God within you, and God is a powerful force that is not separate from you. As long as you are aligned with God, you have a purpose, and you are here to live abundantly, and you can have whatever you want. You can create whatever you want on this earth. It's like whatever happened in the past is in the past. If slavery happened, if segregation happened, if white people used to hate black people, if they still do, I don't give a crap. It doesn't matter, because it's about you as the individual. It's about the God force in you. No matter what skin color you are, God created every single human being. There are people here from all over the globe, and we are all created by God. Nobody's greater than the other, So it's like nobody can take anything away from us. Like, to say that this group of people is greater because of some material thing that they acquired or some foundation that they've built, that is an illusion. Because just as one group of people can build something, another group can go and say they want to build something for themselves. It's like, just like this person can have this thing that works for them that they've built and it's solid and whatever, and it's profitable, you can go and you can do the same thing, and you can design it for yourself, and it can be something that you're into, you know. And as long as it's righteous, and as long as it's not against the spirit of God that's within you, it's like it's blessed. It's like there's no one that can take that away from you. There's no one that can tear it apart. You know, they can try, there'll be resistance, and of course there are going to be people who want to come against anything great because they don't want their thing to be obsolete, or their thing to, like, you know, be a figment of history, you know. It's like they don't want to become history. It's like, but it's like, and that's the thing. It's like maybe some people don't want to become history, and they want their thing to stay present. And it's like we can't be fixated on that, and we can't give that energy anymore. It's like whatever happened in the past, whatever somebody even built for themselves, whatever you built, great. If it's still standing, great. That's you and your business, you know. And these people shouldn't feel like, okay, because if we realize that we are just like Jesus Christ and the Spirit of God is so powerful that they can't tear it down, then it's like, okay, their thing is going to maybe, you know, that's their fear. It's like, what I'm trying to say is we shouldn't be distracted and deterred from creating what we want in this world, because there are a small group of people who've built something very strong and very profitable, who are afraid that this thing might just become obsolete. It might just become it might just become history, you know. So maybe there are new things to be done. Maybe there are new things to be done. And I've spoken of new history books a long time ago. And I feel like a lot of times I say stuff and it's taken out of context, or people just don't know where you're coming from and they give their own meaning to it. When I speak of new history books, I mean that we're going to create things in the present, and whatever's happening from this point and happened in the past, that's going to be the past. Now it's time to create something new from this point, and whatever happened before that is history. All we have is right now. We have the present and we have the future. We also have the past. The past is history that we can apply and take what we need to learn our lessons and to apply so that we know not to do this in the future. It's like, okay, if this group of people did this thing this way, we can now learn from that and do it in a complete different way that's not only going to serve us, but serve the greater good. Because if we are children of God, everything that we do is to serve the greater good, or else God is not in it, and Satan has every right to tear it apart. Satan has every right to, and when I say Satan, I'm also talking about the old power structure. It has every right to take something down that is not in accordance and in alignment with what God wants to do, because God is not going to bless something that he is not involved in. So as long as people think that they're going to do something new, it's not going to be blessed by God unless God is in it. And I don't know. So I'm saying that to say that we need to stop looking at the past. The past is history. Everything that's happened before this present time, before right now, is history. You know, this time that my generation, like we're creating the future, and whatever happened before us or before this time right here is history. That's what I mean about new history books, because I feel like we're so stuck on what happened maybe 2 generations ago that we forget all the new things that are constantly happening, and we don't move on from what's happened in the past so that we can create something new, so that maybe our time, like me as a young person, I can say that the time that I lived in when George Floyd was murdered, all that stuff will be history, and I can create something new. And you know, history continues to evolve in that way, where we're not so stuck and nothing new is being built, and we're still looking at movies like Wakanda and thinking of what could have been, and we didn't create what is to be. And I feel like God wants us to create what is to be. He wants us to create a life for ourselves that we are content, not even just content with, but a life that we're happy with, a life that allows us to thrive. Like, you were not born to be a fry cook making $25 an hour and saying, "Oh, thank you, old paradigm, thank you, old power structure, for paying me enough to pay my rent." Like, come on. Like, there's more to life than that. It's like once you Once you, just like Jesus Christ did, Jesus Christ took 40 days and 40 nights to fast. He went up on the mountain. He isolated himself from society and he got in tune with himself. That's what he did. He didn't go search for God out there in the woods and in the mountains somewhere. No, he silenced the world. That's what Jesus Christ did when he went to go fast. He went to go silence the outside world so that he can get in tune with that voice that's inside of him. Because God is always speaking. God is speaking to each and every single person at all times. But it's just there's so many distractions. There's your fry cook job. There's this person wants your attention. There's this thing happening that you have to do. You have this hobby. You have this group to attend to. It's like all this stuff going on. You have this meeting, that meeting, and all these things. And Jesus Christ unplugged from that. And he went to go fast so that he can hear the voice of God and so that he can unlock the purpose that God has placed inside of him. Before that, Jesus was just a worker. He was what was he? He was a carpenter. Before Jesus got into his purpose and realized that his purpose was more than being a carpenter, there's nothing wrong with being a carpenter, but Jesus just realized that, okay, I'm in a new phase in my life and I hear a voice. I don't know what's going on, but this voice is trying to tell me something, but I can't hear because it's too loud out here. So he goes and he tunes into that voice and he realized, wow, I am the Son of God. And that is just so powerful. And if more people were to do that, this would be a totally different world. It's like, just like Jesus came and he healed the sick and he brought so much life, we'd all be bringing so much life to life. We wouldn't just be living dead and just being shells, shells for corporations, We'd have something greater to offer life, greater than what's material, God would point out your purpose as an individual. And it's like, and it's not to say that we're not here in society to function and to do things, I mean, someone's greater purpose might just be to be a worker or to be a carpenter. But it's like, you'll never know what your real purpose is, what you're really supposed to be doing, what's really going to fulfill you until you silence the world and get to listen to that voice of God that's always speaking and just magnify it so that you can know what it is that you're supposed to be doing here on this earth. Because we all have value as human beings, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter where you're from. Everybody has value. Everybody has something to offer life. And that's what Jesus found out. Jesus found out that he was not just supposed to be in a corner just, making tables. He realized that he was supposed to go out into the world and change the scope of the way that we think and make us more empathetic and just give us more life as people and just unleash the fact that God is always here and he's always inside of us. And that's a beautiful thing that the media doesn't want you to know. They want you fixated on Wakanda versus Ocean's 11. Who gives a crap about a movie versus a movie? That's just all somebody's imagination and they put it on a screen, That shouldn't be enough to have you against another human being. It's like, what use is that? That's just such a waste of energy. It's like, who cares, And it's like, it's not even about, okay, kumbaya. It's more about you as an individual. It's like, forget about being against this group. Who cares? That's just such a waste. There's so much more to be done. That needs to be in a history book. Like whatever is going on, like 2020, whatever happened from 2020 to 2022, that is history. Okay, now we are on this day in December and we're approaching 2023. So we need to be right here, right now, and thinking about the future and how can we build that? What is it that we need? What is it that, just search yourself and listen to the voice of God and see what God wants you to do, what he wants to reveal to you, even if you don't understand. Like, for example, I feel like some people are willing and open to learn about what's going on, but it's like when you hear it, you can't put two and two together. That's why you have to sometimes silence the world. Sometimes you have to turn off social media. You have to turn off the Wakanda crap. Like, I don't care. You have to turn that crap off and just ask God, like, what is it that you want me to see? What is being said that I'm not perceiving? What am I not hearing? That's why when Jesus spoke, he would say, he who hears, let him hear. Because just because you hear something does not mean that you hear. God could be speaking to you, but because the world is just as loud as God, you might not hear it, You You might see somebody's lips moving, you might catch little glimpses, you might catch little things here and there, but you won't catch a full message that maybe God has for you. And I'm not even just speaking about me talking right now, but I'm just saying in general. God is always speaking, but you may not hear because there's so many distractions, there's so much crap. Forget Wakanda. If Wakanda's a real place, God bless Wakanda. I hope that they are thriving. I hope that they're living well and happy, okay? But you need to worry about right here, right now. What does God want you to do? What is he telling you? And just like that, it's like, it's about you. This is your movie. This life right here, right now is your movie, and you get to create it not by yourself, because if you try to create it by yourself, you'll be out here alone, and it'll be you and the big outside forces that are going to deter you, distract you, manipulate you, control you. So no, you cannot do it alone. But when you get alone and you silence this world and you get into yourself, so you're no longer by yourself, you're into yourself, that's when God within you starts to speak and reveal things to you, and you can bring yourself into a different space. And you won't need to watch Wakanda, a figment of someone's imagination. You get to create things from your own imagination. As long as God is in it, it's blessed, because that's how God speaks. God speaks through your imagination. God speaks through your thoughts. He speaks when he puts feelings in your spirit. He also speaks through experiences that you have. But you may not perceive when God is actually speaking. You may perceive the outside world more than you actually perceive God. And that is the problem. And that's why, forget Wakanda and all these stupid movies, Ocean, whatever. This movie, that movie, I don't care. We need to move on, because all we have is now, and we have the future. The past cannot resolve anything for us. The past will not take us anywhere. It won't do anything, And I guess that's what I want to say. I was going to make this video about love and togetherness and things like that. But to be honest with you, this is what it's all about. It's like loving yourself and knowing that God loves you as an individual. It'll give you the fuel to be able to look out into the world and love other people. If you don't love yourself, you love everything else, and it's not even a real love, it's a false love, because any love outside of yourself is not real, because it doesn't sustain you. The only thing that can sustain you as an individual is something that comes from within, because that's where your anchor is. As a human being, your anchor is within. Anything outside is fickle and it doesn't last. It's not sustainable, and you need more, you need variety, you need all this stuff, and it's like, once you're rooted in love for yourself, because you've accepted the love of God and you love God back, you can give love to other people. Race will not be a factor. That's how you get rid of racism. You can't get rid of racism by telling people stop hating black people or stop this and that, and stop yelling at somebody is not going to get them to do what you want them to do. And it's like, we shouldn't need that anyway. Like, me as an individual, I don't need anybody to love. If you love me, great. If you don't, hey, it is what it is. But I know that I love myself, and the fact that I love myself, I can extend that love to others. And the only way that I can get to the point where I actually love myself is receiving the love that God has for me and giving that love back to God. And in doing so, I have the energy to be able to extend that love to others. That is how you get rid of racism. Other than that, it's like, it's all a farce, it's all pretense, and it's and who needs it anyway? It's like, if somebody doesn't want to give it to you, it is what it is. It's like, okay, fine. If you give it to me, great. If you don't, that's fine. You move on. You just know that these aren't the people that you give your energy to. You give your energy to yourself, you give your energy to God, and you keep on being you. And if being you means that you're still going to extend your love to the people who hate you, then that's just what it is. It doesn't take away from you. It doesn't feel any way, because you're just being your natural self, and you're just pouring out from a full cup. And that's all I want to say today.